Chapter 32-24. Many of the onlookers were stunned by this result. Previously, many people thought that Lu Ming did not possess first-grade strength and was at most at the peak of second-grade strength. But now, Lu Ming had killed Serene Xing. But why did Lu Ming not even dare to fight Chu Qingkong when he met him? Why did he run away immediately? Someone asked. This is very simple. The main thing is that Chu Qingkong is too powerful. Given Chu Qingkong's combat capability, he can definitely compete for the top 3. Although Lu Ming is also at the first level, he is no match for Chu Qingkong. He knows his own limits and knows that he is no match for Chu Qingkong. That's why he ran away. I think his goal is the top 10. Also, although he defeated Serene Xing, he has a treasure that protects his soul. Serene Xing's killing move is useless against him. It will be easier for him to deal with Serene Xing. A white-haired old man explained, as if he had seen through everything. Senior is wise and insightful. A group of people flattered him. On the battle stage, after Lu Ming killed Serene Xing, a large amount of battle chi flew from Serene Xing's body into Lu Ming's battle suit. Lu Ming's battle suit emitted a bright light. The color was extremely rich, and then the color changed. The blue color faded and was replaced by purple. Lu Ming's battle suit finally leveled up to purple. His battle suit was originally at the peak of blue. After absorbing half of Serene Xing's battle chi, it finally leveled up. However, it was only a light purple color. There was still a big gap between it and Di Jinyi, Chu Qingkong, and the others. Serene Xing has failed his challenge. The Imperial Advisor announced and continued, now, Lu Ming, who is ranked 18th, will continue his challenge. Lu Ming is going to continue his challenge. He just fought. I wonder who he will challenge now? Everyone guessed. Lu Ming stood on the battle stage and did not retreat. He pointed his spear at a young man and said, Jin Zhou, come down and fight. The young man who was challenged by Lu Ming's face darkened slightly. Then he stepped out and landed on the fighting stage. This Lu Ming actually challenged the Gold Continent. It's very simple, the Gold Continent is the weakest out of all the people here, and can only be considered as the peak of the second grade. If I don't challenge him, who else can I challenge? That's true. The Gold Continent was the one with the most intense competition on the last stage. Lan Ling was defeated by him. Although this person had obtained a lot of battle chi and was wearing a light purple battle suit, he was ranked 15th in the beginning. However, he was not very strong and was currently the weakest among all of them. He had yet to awaken an origin source secret technique. Even though I haven't awakened my ultimate technique, it won't be easy for you to defeat me. Wind God's tribulation, die. Jin Zhou roared as he unleashed his full strength, unleashing his strongest secret technique and killing move as he charged towards Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming directly brought out the Sovereign's Gate and smashed it towards the Gold Continent. Although Jin Zhou had mastered several powerful secret techniques, he wasn't strong enough. Under the suppression of the God's Gate, his body shook violently. After a few moves, he was sent flying to the edge of the fighting stage. His hand almost exploded, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Boom! Lu Ming continued to control the Sovereign's Gate. Jin Zhou gritted his teeth, turned around, and rushed down the fighting stage to admit defeat. If he admitted defeat, he still had one more chance to challenge. If he was killed by Lu Ming and killed his way out of this world, he wouldn't even have the chance to challenge again. The purple battle suit really boosts one's battle strength. Lu Ming muttered with a smile. Just now, under the enhancement of the purple battle suit, his strength had increased by a level. Even the power of the Sovereign's Gate had become stronger. That was why he could defeat Jin Zhou so easily. After Jin Zhou admitted defeat, half of his battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. The color of Lu Ming's battle suit suddenly deepened, slowly breaking away from the light purple category. Lu Ming's defeat of Jin Zhou wasn't unexpected. After all, Jin Zhou's strength was only at the second level. Lu Ming wins this battle. Lu Ming, will you continue to challenge, or will you take a break? The Imperial Preceptor continued to announce. Continue. Lu Ming's voice could be heard from afar. Many people's eyes lit up. Lu Ming wanted to continue to challenge. If he wanted to continue, he could only challenge the top 14 people. Every one of the top 14 people had extremely strong battle strength. Every one of them had the potential to enter the top 10. This time, they should be able to test Lu Ming's battle strength. Wu Fan, come out and fight. Just as the crowd was thinking, Lu Ming's voice rang out again. He wants to challenge Wu Fan? That's strange. Wu Fan is ranked 14th. He actually wants to challenge Wu Fan. I thought he would directly challenge the top 10 people. If he challenges like this, won't he use up a lot of divine power? I know, he seems to have a grudge against Wu Fan. However, it's unwise to challenge him like this. The crowd was in an uproar. Many people couldn't figure out Lu Ming's thoughts. Normally, those who challenged later on would directly challenge the top 10 people, just like Gao Song. This was because this was the best battle plan. The number of battles would be minimized. Now that everyone was an expert, every battle would consume a lot of divine power. If they were injured and couldn't recover in time, it would greatly affect their battle strength. It would be very disadvantageous for the later battles. Directly challenging the top 10 was the best choice. However, Lu Ming chose to challenge Wu Fan, who was ranked 14th. Moreover, Wu Fan was the son of the Imperial Advisor. The Imperial Advisor's face darkened slightly, but he didn't say anything. You want to challenge me? Very good, very good. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Seeing that he was being challenged by Lu Ming, Wu Fan's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Taking a step forward, Wu Fan came to the fighting ring. His body was surrounded by a strange gray fog, which made him look like he was drifting in and out of place. Boom! Powerful auras exploded from both of them at the same time. When they met in midair, it created a violent wave of energy. Wu Fan wanted to kill Lu Ming because of Lan Ling, and Lu Ming wanted to kill Wu Fan because of Blue Merchant. Both of them wanted to kill the other party. Ancient Sorcerer Fist, kill! Wu Fan shouted coldly as he charged towards Lu Ming. Like a mountain pressing down on Lu Ming, he threw a punch at Lu Ming. Divine Dragon Celestial Oksana. Lu Ming threw out continuous punches with both of his fists. 36 nine-clawed dragons were formed and they pounced towards Wu Fan. At the same time, Lu Ming took a step forward and a huge spear shot towards Wu Fan like a mountain range. At this moment, Lu Ming maintained the quadruple combat strength of the battle character incantation and the green-armored ancient god body. His strength was at its peak. Ancient sorcerer body. Wu Fan roared as his body swelled. His muscles bulged and he was filled with majestic strength. Boom! Boom! He threw out continuous punches with both of his fists, piercing through the air and creating a violent whistling sound. With every punch, a nine-clawed dragon exploded. After dozens of punches, all 36 nine-clawed dragons exploded. Chapter 32:25. Wu Fan threw out dozens of punches in an instant. The power of each punch was shocking. The 36 nine-clawed dragons were defeated in an instant. The last punch landed on Lu Ming's long spear. Ding! A deafening sound reverberated throughout the area. The long spear vibrated violently. Lu Ming and Wu Fan's bodies shook slightly and they both took a few steps back. What a strong power! Lu Ming's eyes flickered slightly. Wu Fan's ancient sorcerer body seemed to be similar to the ancient god body. After using it, one's power would increase tremendously. However, Wu Fan's ancient sorcerer body was obviously not as strong as Lu Ming's ancient god body. Lu Ming took a step forward and waved his long spear as he continued to attack Wu Fan. Sky Splitter, Moon Slash, Starburst. Lu Ming used the 3 annihilation strikes consecutively. The spear radiance enveloped Wu Fan's body. Wu Fan shouted loudly as he unleashed his power to the maximum to fight against Lu Ming. However, after more than 10 moves, Wu Fan started to lose. He retreated and was gradually suppressed by Lu Ming. In a battle of pure power, Lu Ming had the upper hand. Lu Ming is so strong. He is only in the first level of the King God realm. Why is his power so shocking? He must have mastered a few terrifying secret skills. For example, a secret skill that can double one's fighting strength. His divine power is also extremely strange. It is so dense that it is frightening. He is indeed the chosen one. As a peerless genius, he can fight with someone who is 2 levels higher than him. I have lived for countless years and I have never seen anyone like him. Back then, the outstanding prince was only Esosit. I'm afraid he is not as good as Wu Fan. Many people were amazed that Lu Ming could force Wu Fan to this stage. On the other hand, the imperial tutor's face darkened. 100 beasts kill. At this moment, Wu Fan shouted angrily. His body emitted a strange red light. The red light was as red as blood, as if fresh blood was flowing. Following which, the red light turned into different divine beasts. There were divine dragons, phoenixes, qilins, tautai. A total of dozens of divine beasts pounced towards Lu Ming, each of them emitting a monstrous baleful aura. Boom! Lu Ming struck a divine dragon with his spear. The long spear shook violently. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force rushing towards him. He could not help but retreat. At the same time, a strange red light followed the long spear and tried to penetrate Lu Ming's body. Being touched by the red light, Lu Ming felt a sharp pain in his body. What a terrifying power! This is an origin source secret technique. Lu Ming knew that Wu Fan had finally used his origin source secret technique and was going all out. Sovereign's Gate. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Ming unleashed the Sovereign's Gate and sent it crashing down. The Gate of Gods emitted an ancient light, and a powerful suction force spread out, acting on the divine beasts. Boom! Boom! The god beasts slammed into the Sovereign's Gate, unleashing all sorts of terrifying attacks. The two sides constantly clashed. Shatter it! Lu Ming shouted coldly. The 10 types of divine power in his body surged. With the Sovereign's divine power as the core, they crazily surged towards the Sovereign's Gate. The Sovereign's Gate hummed and vibrated, unleashing an even stronger power. It was like a heavenly monument crushing down. Bam! Bam! Several mythological beasts exploded one after another. Wu Fan's face changed. The red light on his body became even brighter, and his entire body was covered in blood. The divine beasts formed by the red light roared, and their power increased. Some divine beasts tried to avoid the Sovereign's Gate from the sides and attack Lu Ming directly. However, the Sovereign's Gate released a powerful suction force. It was like a black hole. The powerful suction force was like a cage, attracting the divine beasts. The collision continued, and both sides fought with all their might. Exploding star. At this moment, Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and stabbed it towards Wu Fan. A terrifying spear light shot towards Wu Fan. How can you still have energy left? Wu Fan roared in shock. He had already used all his strength to fight against Lu Ming. He no longer had the energy to activate other secret skills. However, how could Lu Ming still have energy left to activate other killer moves? Naturally, he did not know that Lu Ming had the quantifying formula. In order to deal with this assessment, Lu Ming had stored a large amount of divine power in the quantifying formula. Although controlling the Sovereign's Gate drained Lu Ming of his divine power, the quantifying formula immediately sent divine power into Lu Ming's body. The 10-star nuclei in his body were instantly replenished. Naturally, he had the ability to launch other attacks. Boom! The spear light formed by the exploding star hit Wu Fan and exploded. The destructive force completely enveloped Wu Fan. Wu Fan's body exploded inch by inch. He could no longer maintain the origin secret skill. The divine beasts collapsed in an instant. The Sovereign's Gate seized the opportunity and pressed down, smashing directly on Wu Fan's head. Wu Fan screamed. His body exploded and he died on the spot. Then, he reappeared outside the spherical world. Ming, Wu Fan's face was completely distorted. Like an evil spirit, he emitted a shocking murderous intent. He, one of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital, an unparalleled genius, had actually lost. Moreover, he had lost to Lu Ming. In his eyes, Lu Ming was his rival in love. He could not accept this. Moreover, now that he had lost, it meant that he had completely lost this assessment and had no chance of being in the top 10. He was about to explode in anger. Before the Taishu dynasty started, he had said that he would definitely be in the top 10 and even the top 3. But now, he had no chance of being in the top 10. What he had said in the past was simply a fart. It was a slap to his face. All of this was caused by Lu Ming. Damn bastard, bastard, Wu Fan roared angrily like a wild beast. Fan, calm down. Victory and defeat are common in war. A voice rang in Wu Fan's ears. Wu Fan's body shook and the vicious aura on his body finally dissipated a little. Yes, father. Wu Fan nodded at the state preceptor. The one who had spoken was naturally the Grand Tutor. You have to learn from this incident and strive to become stronger. The Grand Tutor nodded. Although the Grand Tutor said this, when he turned to look at Lu Ming, a cold, killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. After killing Wu Fan, half of Wu Fan's battle chi had been absorbed by Lu Ming. The battle chi on Lu Ming's body emitted a dazzling radiance. Its color had completely turned into a dark purple. It was second only to the battle chi on Di Jinni and Suya. Not bad. If I absorb more, it should be able to turn into a golden battle chi. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Lu Ming has won this battle. Lu Ming, do you want to continue the challenge or take a break? The Grand Tutor continued to ask. Continue. Lu Ming's answer was simple. He then pointed his spear at a youth and said, Yuan Jie, come down and fight. This time, Lu Ming had challenged Yuan Jie, one of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital. Yuan Jie was ranked 12th in the previous rankings, 2 ranks higher than Wu Fan. He actually challenged Yuan Jie. Is he trying to climb up the ranks step by step? Qiu Yu, who is ranked 13th, is one of his own. That's why he didn't challenge him. He is really trying to climb up the ranks step by step. Does he have so much divine power? Such a battle will consume a lot of divine power. Chapter 32-26. The order of Lu Ming's challenge was really confusing. W and W? 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 See? Many people were confused. Obviously, he wants to climb up step by step to absorb battle chi and upgrade his battle suit to increase his strength. Lu Ming's goal is not as simple as being in the top 10. Looks like he wants to be in the top 3. If I'm not wrong, he must have a treasure that can store divine power. Some experienced people finally guessed Lu Ming's purpose. However, they were still confused. Although treasures that could store divine power were rare, there were still some in the Taishu sacred capital. However, most of these treasures could only store 1 or 2 times the amount of divine power a person possessed. However, in such a battle between geniuses, even if they stored 2 or 3 times the divine power, it would not be enough. Although they did not have the same idea, their guesses were close to Lu Ming's plan. Yes, Lu Ming's plan was to climb up step by step and absorb others' battle chi to upgrade his battle suit. That was why Lu Ming had stopped absorbing battle chi a long time ago. If he had continued to absorb battle chi and absorbed enough battle chi, he would have been ranked at the top right from the start. How would he have had the chance to keep challenging? Moreover, he had not absorbed battle chi as fast as he did now. Now, all the geniuses here had absorbed a large amount of battle chi. As long as he defeated one of them, he would be able to absorb a large amount of battle chi. This speed was really fast and could upgrade his battle suit. Therefore, when Lu Ming met Chu Qingkong previously, he turned and left instead of fighting with him. Yuan Jie rushed into the fighting ring and pointed his spear at Lu Ming. Strong spear intent spread in all directions. Come on. Yuan Jie's words were simple. As soon as he finished speaking, he charged at Lu Ming. Deadly spear Yuan Jie's attack speed was extremely fast. Every move was a killing move. Lu Ming responded with rapt attention, and the two of them engaged in an intense battle. Yuan Jie was very strong, but his strength was about the same as Wu Fan's. After exchanging a few dozen blows with Lu Ming, he was defeated by Lu Ming and was sent flying out of the fighting ring. Lu Ming had absorbed half of Yuan Jie's battle chi and its color had become more intense. It was comparable to Di Jinni's. After half of Yuan Jie's battle chi was absorbed, his battle suit was downgraded to a blue battle suit. This made Yuan Jie's expression turn ugly. The downgrade of his battle suit would reduce the increase in his combat power, which would be very disadvantageous for him in the following battles. After defeating Yuan Jie, Lu Ming did not stop his challenge. Next, he challenged a prodigy who was ranked 11th. This genius was also very powerful. After exchanging over 100 moves with Lu Ming, he was finally defeated by Lu Ming. Crash. Half of the opponent's battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. The color of Lu Ming's battle suit was so intense that it couldn't be dissolved. However, it was still purple and had not been upgraded. It's really difficult to upgrade it to a gold battle suit. Lu Ming sighed. His current battle chi had surpassed Di Jian's, but it had not been upgraded to a gold battle suit. As for the prodigy who was ranked 11th, his battle chi was already extremely intense. After half of his battle chi was absorbed, his battle chi did not drop in level. Instead, it barely maintained its light purple state. This made him very happy. Lu Ming, do you still want to continue your challenge? The Grand Tutor asked again. Yes. This was Lu Ming's answer. The crowd was already numb. Could it be that Lu Ming was going to fight his way up to first place? Some people couldn't help but think this way. Yu Jiuqian, come down and fight me. This time, Lu Ming directly jumped over the 10th place and challenged Yu Jiuqian, who was ranked 9th. The reason why Lu Ming challenged Yu Jiuqian was that he had seen Yu Jiuqian fight before. Hence, he was more confident. Yu Jiuqian stepped out and landed on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you are very strong. We don't need to test your strength. Let's go all out and decide the victor. Yu Jiuqian said. He was very straightforward. His body was shrouded in divine light and a terrifying aura permeated the air. Then, golden carps appeared around his body. There was a total of 12 golden carps floating around Yu Jiuqian. Each carp was only the size of a palm and looked very lifelike. This was Yu Jiuqian's secret skill of the origin. There was nothing to test. The moment he attacked, he used his secret skill of the origin, his strongest killing move. Just what I want, Lu Ming said. Divine power surged and the gate of domination appeared. Kill! Yu Jiuqian shouted and moved his fingers. The 12 carps beside him twisted their bodies and flew towards Lu Ming. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The carps pierced through the air and let out terrifying whistles. They were like 12 rays of sword light and their speed was extremely fast. Lu Ming waited with rapt attention. 9-layered crimson golden armor appeared on his body and the ice chains surrounded him, forming multiple layers of defense. The gate of domination floated above his head and did not attack. Clang! One of the carps collided with the ice chains. It was as sharp as a sword light. Even with the current toughness of the ice chains, it could not block it. With a sizzling sound, it was cut open and hit several layers of crimson golden armor. In the end, even the 9-layered crimson golden armor could not block it. It left a sword wound on Lu Ming's body. What a strange secret skill of the origin. Each carp is a sword light, an extremely sharp sword light. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He then used all his strength to control the gate of domination. A terrifying suction force erupted from the gate of domination and enveloped a large area. The 12 carps were enveloped by the suction force of the gate of domination. Their speed was finally affected and they slowed down a little. At the same time, Lu Ming waved his spear and turned it into countless spear shadows to block the carps. Clang, 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 clang. The 12 carps turned into 12 sword lights and surrounded Lu Ming, constantly attacking him. Many people could not see the carps clearly. They could only see 12 sword lights flying around at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming is going to lose? Yes, he's being restrained. His secret skill of the origin is astonishing, but now it's being restrained. If he uses his secret skill of the origin, he can only block a few sword lights. Yu Jiuqian's other sword lights will be enough to defeat him. It was a mistake for him to challenge Yu Jiuqian. Many people thought that Lu Ming was finally going to lose and stop here. During this time, Lu Ming did try to control the gate of domination to counterattack. However, the 12 carps attacked from different directions. The gate of domination could only send a few flying. He used moves like sky piercing, moon slashing, and star shattering, but they were all blocked by the carps controlled by his opponent. Lu Ming, you are no match for me. Admit defeat. Yu Jiuqian said. He was confident that Lu Ming could not attack him at all. He was in an invincible position. Chapter 32:27. You're overconfident, Lu Ming said. He wasn't worried at all. WWWW? WW? W? W? See? Was that all he had? Of course not. Extreme Een I. At this moment, Lu Ming bellowed in a low voice. White lights suddenly appeared in his eyes, like two whirlpools. A whirlpool suddenly appeared above Yu Jiuqian's head. A terrifying chill was emitted from the whirlpool. In an instant, Yu Jiuqian's body was covered by a layer of ice. Yu Jiuqian's face changed drastically. He unleashed his divine power in an attempt to break free from the chill. However, Lu Ming had already cultivated the Sun-Moon divine power to the point of awakening the Origin divine power. The power of the Yin-Yang I was even more terrifying. Even if it was just the extreme Yin I, it was extremely powerful. This was an ancient secret skill. Although it wasn't the Origin secret skill, it was even more powerful than the Origin secret skill. An even more terrifying chill emerged from the whirlpool and enveloped Yu Jiuqian's body. He couldn't break free for a while. As his body was covered by the chill, he couldn't circulate his divine power. Naturally, his control over the 12 carps was also greatly reduced. Lu Ming wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. He became one with his spear and rushed out of the encirclement of the 12 carps. He then controlled the gate of domination to suppress Yu Jiuqian. The ancient stone gate exuded a strong aura and was as heavy as a mountain. Bam! Yu Jiuqian was sent flying and spat out blood. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Lu Ming was about to continue controlling the gate of domination when Yu Jiuqian shouted and admitted defeat. He had no choice but to admit defeat. If he was killed or severely injured by Lu Ming, it would be over for him. If he admitted defeat now, he still had a chance to keep his place in the top 10. You can go down by yourself. Lu Ming didn't continue attacking and stopped. After all, he didn't have any grudges with Yu Jiuqian. He didn't need to kill him. He just needed to defeat him. Yu Jiuqian rushed out of the battle stage. As soon as he was out of the battle stage, he immediately took out a divine pill and swallowed it to recover. If Yu Jiuqian rushed out of the battle platform, it meant that he had lost. Half of his battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Finally, a bright light rushed out from Lu Ming's body. The color of his battle suit began to change. It was no longer purple and was replaced by gold. A pale golden battle suit covered Lu Ming's entire body. He became the first person to own a golden battle suit. So powerful. The golden battle suit boosts my combat power so much. Lu Ming felt it for a moment and was overjoyed. His plan had succeeded. He had indeed absorbed enough battle chi to transform it into a golden battle suit. The golden battle suit's enhancement of combat power was beyond his imagination. He actually has such a powerful secret technique? The others were shocked. Lu Ming not only had the origin source secret technique, but he also had the terrifying extreme Yin pupil. This was beyond many people's expectations. Lu Ming was becoming more and more mysterious in everyone's hearts. Many important figures' eyes flickered. No one knew what they were thinking. On the divine thrones around the battle stage, many prodigies looked solemn, especially those ranked 9th and below. Lu Ming had many tricks up his sleeve, which made them extremely wary. Would Lu Ming continue to challenge? This thought popped up in everyone's mind. Now that Lu Ming had defeated Yu Jiuqian, he had replaced Yu Jiuqian's ranking and became 9th. Yu Jiuqian's ranking had dropped to 10th. His original 10th place had dropped to 11th. Those who were ranked lower had automatically moved back one place. Lu Ming has won this battle. Lu Ming, will you continue to challenge or take a break? The Grand Preceptor asked again. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. They were all guessing if Lu Ming would continue to challenge. Take a break. This time, Lu Ming finally did not say that he would continue to challenge. Instead, he chose to take a break. He's finally taking a break. For some reason, many people secretly heaved a sigh of relief when they heard Lu Ming say that he was taking a break. Lu Ming had fought all the way until now. If he continued to fight, it would be too heaven-defying. It was difficult for them to accept. Lu Ming's decision to take a break meant that Lu Ming was still normal and could still get tired. Lu Ming was indeed tired. He had enough divine power because he had the quantifying character formula. However, maintaining the state of the green-armored ancient god had consumed too much of his physical strength. He needed a good rest. Lu Ming's body rapidly shrank and returned to normal. Then he landed on his divine throne, swallowed a divine pill to restore his physical strength, and began to recover. Okay, Lu Ming has taken a break. The challenge will start from the 18th place. The National Preceptor announced. The 18th place was the original 17th place. It was his turn to start the challenge. This person was also a peerless genius. After he landed on the fighting ring, he looked around. Obviously, he could not be like Lu Ming. He did not have enough divine power. If he was injured, he would not be able to continue fighting. His gaze landed on the top 10 sky prides. Di Jiani, Su Weia, Qian Xingxian, and Chu Qingkong were ignored. These people were obviously too strong. He was definitely no match for them. His gaze swept over the last few people in the top 10. He looked especially at Lu Ming and Yu Jiuqian. Yu Jiuqian and Lu Ming had just gone through a great battle. They were definitely not at their peak. However, Lu Ming and Yu Jiuqian were very powerful. This person had to assess his own condition. Especially Lu Ming, who had fought his way up. If Lu Ming was still at his peak, he would be asking for trouble if he challenged Lu Ming. I challenge Yu Jiuqian. In the end, this person challenged Yu Jiuqian. Yu Jiuqian had just been injured by Lu Ming. Among the top 10 geniuses, he should be the easiest to defeat. I admit defeat. Unexpectedly, Yu Jiuqian admitted defeat. He did not even want to fight. How decisive. However, this is the best way. That's right. Yu Jiuqian has admitted defeat and his ranking will drop. However, it doesn't matter. He still has one more chance to challenge. He can fight his way back. Now that he is injured, even if he wins, his injuries will only worsen. The challengers later will target him. He will be defeated sooner or later. It's better to admit defeat now. Some people analyzed. Yu Jiuqian admitted defeat. The challenger replaced Yu Jiuqian in the 10th place. Then, the challengers continued. The 16th place genius issued a challenge. This person also challenged the 10th place genius. The two of them engaged in an intense battle. In the end, the challenger won. Then, it was Autumn Moon's turn. This was because Wu Fan, who was ranked ahead of Autumn Moon, had already been killed by Lu Ming. Who are you challenging? Many people's gazes fell on Autumn Moon. Who would Autumn Moon challenge? Autumn Moon took a step forward and landed on the platform. Her long skirt fluttered in the wind like a fairy from the 9 heavens. I challenge her. Autumn Moon pointed at a young genius. Chapter 32:28. Autumn Moon pointed to a sky pride, which shocked many people. Ranwi? W? 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 Ina? That was because this genius was also a woman, a peerlessly beautiful woman. She was one of the 2 women in the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies, known as the 4 beauties of the Holy Capital. Her name was Miao Shui. In the original ranking, she was ranked 7th. Originally, everyone thought that Autumn Moon would challenge the 10th ranked Sky Pride. Because the 10th ranked Sky Pride had just gone through a great battle and was severely exhausted and injured, it was best for Autumn Moon to challenge that Sky Pride. Unexpectedly, Autumn Moon directly challenged Miao Shui, who was ranked 7th. However, many people began to get excited. After all, it was a battle between 2 beautiful women, which would undoubtedly be more interesting. Autumn Moon seems to be very close to Lu Ming. Both of them are from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace. This time, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace is really something. They actually have 2 terrifying sky prides. And the 9 Sabers Heavenly King Palace has Chu Qingkong. These 2 Heavenly King Palaces that are ranked 1st and 2nd from the bottom are going to rise up. Many people exclaimed. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King's face was also full of smiles. The more sky prides there were, the stronger they were, the corresponding Heavenly King Palace would also be rewarded. Of course, most importantly, the greater the reputation of the corresponding Heavenly King Palace, the more experts they could attract to join them. The Taishu dynasty occupied a vast territory, and there were many star sectors. In such a vast territory, although most of them obeyed the orders of the Taishu dynasty and were under the jurisdiction of the Taishu dynasty, there were still many itinerant cultivators or forces that were not under the jurisdiction of the Taishu dynasty. On countless planets, there were also many independent experts who were cultivating alone. If the Heavenly King Palace was famous enough, it could attract these independent experts and itinerant cultivators to join them. It would be very useful to increase the strength of the Heavenly King Palace. If there were enough experts joining, the 9-extinction Heavenly King Palace would be able to get rid of the embarrassing situation of being ranked last. I'm looking forward to a battle with you. At this moment, Miao Shui spoke. Her graceful body twisted slightly, and she landed on the fighting ring. The two beauties stood facing each other, pleasing to the eye. Without a sound, an ancient stone machete floated out and was held in Autumn Moon's hand. Around Miao Shui's body, snowflakes began to appear. These snowflakes were very strange. They were very large, and each one was the size of a palm. There was nothing to hide. The two of them used their source secret techniques at the same time. Snowfall World. Miao Shui was the first to make a move. With a wave of her slender hand, snowflakes flew towards Autumn Moon. They were like blades of light, trying to envelop Autumn Moon. Boom! Autumn Moon's divine power exploded as she slashed out with her scimitar, turning into streaks of rainbow light that filled the sky. Clang, clang, clang. When the saber light struck the snowflakes, it actually produced a violent collision sound, and sparks flew in all directions. Then, the snowflakes flew back to where they came from. Miao Shui's expression changed slightly. She took a step forward and floated towards the Autumn Moon. Her body exploded into countless snowflakes. Miao Shui's body actually turned into snowflakes. The sky was filled with snowflakes, covering the Autumn Moon. Each snowflake contained a great killing intent that was incomparably terrifying. It could even cut through the toughest divine weapons. Qiu Yu's expression turned slightly serious. She shouted softly and the saber light exploded. Boundless saber light burst forth and enveloped Qiu Yu. Snowflakes were slashed away by Autumn Moon. In an instant, the two of them had exchanged more than 10 moves, but Autumn Moon did not win. The strength of these top geniuses could not be measured by their cultivation base. Miao Shui's strength was very shocking. On the surface, Qiu Yu's cultivation base had reached the 3rd King God realm. Moreover, she had cultivated the universe myriad Tao scripture, which allowed her to control 8 kinds of divine grade God power. Moreover, these 8 kinds of divine grade God power had awakened the original God power factor. Although they were all first awakenings, lagging behind Miao Shui's second awakening, in terms of divine power, Autumn Moon still had the upper hand. After all, she had 8 types of divine power. However, Miao Shui was able to block Autumn Moon's attacks for the time being. However, Lu Ming was not worried about Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon still had the god-killing light that she had not used yet. He believed that there were not many people who could fight Autumn Moon at the same level as her. Not even Miao Shui. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of collision continued. In a few breaths, Autumn Moon had already slashed out countless times. Moreover, the speed of her attacks was getting faster and faster. Snowflakes were sent flying by the Autumn Moon, dancing in all directions. Some of them even flew towards the geniuses on the divine thrones. Lu Ming and the others quickly set up their defenses to block these snowflakes. She's making her move. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a layer of black light emanating from Autumn Moon's saber. That was the god-killing light. Swoosh! Autumn Moon slashed out with her saber. The saber light flashed and slashed across the void. The entire sky seemed to have been split in half. The snowflakes also seemed to have been slashed apart. The snowflakes danced in the air before retreating and reforming into Miao Shui's appearance. At this moment, Miao Shui's face was pale. There was a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. There was also a bloody mark on her chest. I've lost. Miao Shui looked at Autumn Moon with a complicated expression. She then moved and left the fighting ring. Miao Shui has lost. Many people let out a long sigh. Their eyes were filled with shock. Miao Shui, one of the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies and one of the Holy Capital's 4 beauties, had lost to a girl from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence. Moreover, no one had heard of this girl before. From now on, there will be one more beauty among the Holy Capital's 4 beauties. The Holy Capital's 5 beauties. Moreover, Lady Qiuyu is superior in both beauty and talent. Some young men's eyes lit up as if they had found a prey. Don't even think about it. Let me tell you, this Miss Autumn Moon is Lu Ming's wife. Someone from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence said. What? She's Lu Ming's wife? Oh my God, such a beauty is already taken. Heaven is unfair. My heart can't take it anymore. My heart is broken. Quick, help me to the sword. Then the crowd exclaimed. Miss Autumn Moon was Lu Ming's wife. Both of them were extremely talented. They were really a match made in heaven. After defeating Miao Shui, Miss Autumn Moon absorbed half of her battle chi. The color of Miss Autumn Moon's battle suit became more intense. However, it did not upgrade to gold. Miao Shui's battle suit did not upgrade either. It only turned into a light purple color. This battle is won by Miss Autumn Moon. Do you want to continue or stop the battle? The Imperial Advisor asked. Stop the battle, Miss Autumn Moon said and returned to her throne. After defeating Miao Shui, she replaced her in the 7th place. Miao Shui dropped 1 place to the 8th place. Lu Ming naturally dropped 1 place to the 10th place. The original 10th place was squeezed out of the 10th place and became the 11th place. That person's face turned ugly because he had already challenged before. Now that he was squeezed out of the top 10, he no longer had the chance to challenge again. The result was already decided. Chapter 32-29. Right now, there were only 2 people below the top 10 who had yet to challenge anyone. They were Yu Jiuqian and Yuan Jie. Ana. Yu Jiuqian and Yuan Jie were ranked 12th and 13th respectively. The person ranked 11th had already lost the right to challenge the top 10. It was Yuan Jie's turn to challenge. Yuan Jie's gaze scanned the top 10 people. Of course, Lu Ming was ignored by him. He had been defeated by Lu Ming before. If he challenged Lu Ming again, he would be asking for humiliation. Therefore, his gaze swept across the 9 people in front of him. Finally, his gaze landed on Miao Shui. The top 10 were all top prodigies. None of them were easy to deal with. However, Miao Shui was easier to deal with because she had just fought a big battle and was exhausted. Although it was a little dishonest to challenge Miao Shui now, he would rather be looked down upon than enter the top 10 and gain the right to establish his own family. Miao Shui. In the end, Yuan Jie pointed his spear at Miao Shui. Miao Shui floated down and landed on the fighting ring. Yuan Jie, do you think you can defeat me just because I've just fought a battle? You're sorely mistaken. Miao Shui said coldly. Make your move. Yuan Jie did not say anything else and attacked with his spear. Miao Shui turned into snow again and fought with Yuan Jie. The 2 of them fought fiercely. Soon, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Although Miao Shui had just fought a fierce battle, she was still able to unleash her peak combat power in a short time. In the end, the 2 of them fought fiercely for more than 100 blows. Miao Shui defeated Yuan Jie and won. Yuan Jie's defeat meant that he had completely lost the right to compete for the top 10. Yuan Jie's face was gloomy and ugly. Before the Taishu Imperial Academy was held, he was ambitious. Although he might not be able to enter the top 3, he was confident that he could enter the top 10. However, he was defeated by Chu Qingkong before the Sacred Academy was held. After the Taishu Imperial Academy was held, he was defeated by Lu Ming. Now, he had no chance of entering the top 10. This was a huge blow to him. Outside, countless spectators were also amazed. This time, the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy was too strange. Until now, there were only 4 people left in the top 10 of the Holy Capital's 10 greats. As for the 27 Heavenly Kings' palaces, they actually took up 6 of the spots. The current ranking was as follows: Di Jinni, Su Wia, Qian Shengxian, Chu Chengkong, Yizhifan, Shui Hen, Qiu Autumn Moon, Miao Shui, Sui Hanqiu, and Lu Ming. Among them, Di Jinyi came from Divine Sword Heavenly King Mansion. Qian Shengxian was from the Thousand Saints Heavenly King Mansion. Chu Chengkong was from the residence of Nine Blades Heavenly King. Autumn Moon and Lu Ming came from the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. Lu Shuihen was from the number 1 Heavenly King Palace, Heavenly King Wushuang Palace. Only 4 of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital remained. They were Su Weiyai Jifan, Miao Shui, and Sui Hanqiu. This had never happened before. In the past, the 10 prodigies would take up at least half of the top 10 spots each time the Void Imperial Academy was held. Most of the time, all 10 spots were taken by the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies. Now there were only 4 spots left. This made the local people of the Great Void Sacred Academy pale. They felt ashamed. The local people of the Great Void Sacred Academy had always been high and mighty. They looked down on those from the Heavenly King's palaces, the Marquis palaces, and the General's palaces. This situation was simply a slap to their faces. Now, only Yu Jiuqian has hope. I hope he can pull down one of the Heavenly King's palaces. This way, the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies can at least keep half of the top 10 spots and not create history. That's right, but it's difficult. Many of the local people of the Holy Capital were discussing and looking at Yu Jiuqian hopefully. Now, only Yu Jiuqian was qualified to challenge the top 10. After Yu Jiuqian finished his challenge, if he lost, the top 10 would be confirmed. If Yu Jiuqian won, there would be more variables. However, it was also a crucial battle. Many people could not help but feel nervous. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King was especially nervous. If after this battle, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon could still keep their registration, they would have a great chance of entering the top 10. Who would Yu Jiuqian challenge? Now, it's Yu Jiuqian's turn to challenge. The Imperial Advisor announced. Yu Jiuqian stepped into the fighting ring and looked around. He frowned slightly. Whoever he challenged now would not be easy to deal with. Of course, the best candidate to challenge was Miao Shui. Miao Shui had been through a series of battles and was the most exhausted. However, challenging Miao Shui would be taking advantage of her. He would definitely be criticized and criticized. Moreover, challenging Miao Shui was equivalent to the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies killing each other. He would probably be scolded to death by the local people of the Holy Capital. In the end, Yu Jiuqian's gaze fell on Shui Wuhan. Yu Jiuqian challenged Shui Hen. This was something that could not be helped. Among the 6 sky prides of the Heavenly King's palaces, he had been defeated by Lu Ming. Naturally, he would not challenge Lu Ming again. On the other hand, Autumn Moon's strength seemed to be unfathomable and unpredictable. He was not confident in defeating her. After thinking about it, Shui Hen seemed to be the only one who was more active. "It's your mistake to challenge me." Shui Hen's eyes flashed. To be honest, he was also very unhappy. As the strongest sky pride of the 27 Heavenly King's palaces, he was being looked down upon. Among the 6 sky prides of the Heavenly King's palaces, Yu Jiuqian had challenged him. Boom! Without saying anything else, the 2 of them engaged in an intense battle. Yu Jiuqian used his origin secret technique to form 12 carps to attack Shui Hen. On the other hand, Shui Hen condensed an ocean directly. This was his origin secret technique. The ocean stirred up thousands of waves that slapped continuously. The power was boundless and sent the 12 carps flying. The 2 of them exchanged hundreds of blows. In the end, Shui Hen was stronger and defeated Yu Jiuqian. He absorbed half of Yu Jiuqian's battle chi. However, half of Yu Jiuqian's battle chi had already been absorbed by Lu Ming. It would be useless for Shui Hen to absorb the other half. In the end, it was still a purple battle suit. With Yu Jiuqian defeated, the top 10 were confirmed. Because if they continued to challenge, they would be challenging those in the top 10. No matter how they fought or how they fell, the top 10 would still be the top 10. The 9 Extremes Heavenly King was overjoyed. This time, there were 2 people from the 9 Extremes Heavenly King Palace who had entered the top 10. This was a unique glory for the 27 Heavenly King's palaces. Many of the heavenly kings had already congratulated the 9 Extremes' heavenly king. This made the 9 Sabres' heavenly king extremely unhappy. Humph, when Chu Qingkong enters the top 3, his glory will not be comparable to those 2. The 9 Sabres' heavenly king snorted. Top 3? How can you think that Lu Ming and Autumn Moon can't enter? The 9 Extremes' heavenly king sneered. Chapter 3230. Haha, do you think that Lu Ming and Autumn Moon can enter the top 3? What a joke, what a joke. Juju, you must have lost your mind. The 9 Blades' heavenly king laughed loudly. W? W? W. Then you think Chu Qingkong can enter the top 3? The 9 Extinction heavenly king responded with a similarly mocking expression. Oh, then let's make a bet. 9 Blades Sky King said. Take a gamble? What are we betting? The 9 Absolutes heavenly king asked. Starcrux Dawn. 10 Starcrux Dawn. Do you dare? 9 Blades Sky King said. The 9 Extremes heavenly king's expression changed. By the side, the faces of the other people who were watching the show also changed. 10 Starcrux pills. This bet was a little too big. The Starcrux pill was an extremely precious divine pill. Even if a divine Lord Realm powerhouse saw it, they would crave it and fight for it with all their might. This was because the Starcrux pill was extremely useful to divine Lord powerhouses. It could increase their cultivation. It was priceless. Now, the 9 Blades Celestial Lord had asked for 10 Starcrux elixirs. This was simply a huge gamble. What? Jiu, have you lost your confidence and don't dare to gamble? The 9 Blades heavenly king sneered. What kind of bet? What are the conditions for winning or losing? 9 Extinction heavenly king Mansion asked. It's simple. Let's see which side can enter the top 3. If Chu Qingkong enters the top 3, I win. If Lu Ming or Autumn Moon enters the top 3, you win. If both of us have someone enter the top 3, or if neither of us enters the top 3, then it will be considered a draw. What do you think? 9 Blades Sky King said. Alright, I promise you. The 9 Extinction heavenly king blurted out and agreed immediately. Jiu, thank you for the 10 Starcrux pills. The 9 Sabres heavenly king was overjoyed to see the 9 Sabres heavenly king agree. Hee, you think you've won for sure? Don't slap your own face when the time comes. The 9 Extinction heavenly king responded coldly. It was easier said than done to enter the top 3. Even if Lu Ming and Autumn Moon could not make it to the top 3, Chu Qingkong might not make it either. Di Jianyi, Su Wia, Qian Xingxian, none of them were easy to deal with. Behind them, Lifan, Lu Shuahin, and the others were still eyeing them covetously. Although the 9 Extinction heavenly king did not think that he could win, he did not think that he would lose either. Alright, the top 10 spots have been confirmed. They are Emperor Sword 1. At this moment, the Imperial Preceptor spoke again and announced the top 10 this time. Among the top 10 this time, the 27 Heavenly Kings' palaces took up 6 spots, breaking history. The top 10 will be granted the right to establish their own clan. After the competition, His Majesty the Sage Emperor will bestow upon them a decree to establish their own clan. The Imperial Advisor continued. Many people's eyes were burning with envy. After obtaining the mansion opening token, one would have the right to establish their own clan. How glorious would it be to be the ancestor of a clan? In the future, as long as they became stronger and stronger, they would eventually become the general's residence, the marquis residence, or even the heavenly monarch's residence. This was the dream of all young people. Don't be discouraged, the manor opening token doesn't necessarily belong to the top 10 of the Holy Court. As long as you work hard on your cultivation and contribute greatly to the Holy Court, you will still be able to obtain the manor opening token. Some older generation figures warned their juniors. Many young people were filled with confidence. They clenched their fists and swore to themselves that they would definitely obtain the manor opening token in the future. Alright, the top 10 has been confirmed. However, the challenges will continue. Now we will decide the top 3. However, the rules will be slightly changed for the next challenge. After each battle, you will be given time to recover. Once you have recovered to your peak state, you will continue the battle. The Imperial Preceptor announced. Lu Ming and the others' eyes lit up as they pondered. All right, the challenges will continue. Lu Ming has already challenged before. Let's start from the 9th place. The 9th place is Sui Hanqiu. Who would you like to challenge? The Imperial Preceptor's voice was heard. Sui Hanqiu stepped onto the fighting ring and glanced at the crowd. Now, Sui Hanqiu had two choices. The first was to challenge one of the top 3 and replace their position. Anyway, he had time to recover his strength. As long as he was strong enough, he would take over the top 3 and accept the challenges of others. The second was to learn from Lu Ming and challenge those who were ahead of him step by step. As long as he was strong enough and was confident that he could defeat his opponent, he would be able to absorb the battle chi of those who were ahead of him step by step and improve the level of his battle suit. However, there was a disadvantage to this. Once he failed, he would have no chance to be in the top 3. Sui Hanqiu's eyes flickered. He was thinking about which challenge to choose. I challenge Autumn Moon. Finally, Sui Hanqiu looked at Autumn Moon. Obviously, he chose the second option. He wanted to learn from Lu Ming and improve the level of his battle suit step by step. Autumn Moon stepped onto the fighting ring and clenched his fist. The blade of domination appeared in his hand. Sui Hanqiu shouted coldly as he unsheathed his sword. The sound of the sword resounded in all directions. The two of them turned into two streaks of light and fought fiercely. Saber chi and sword chi were everywhere as they fought fiercely. However, after dozens of moves, Autumn Moon performed the god-killing light and began to gain the upper hand. After dozens of moves, Sui Hanqiu coughed out blood and was knocked out of the fighting ring by Autumn Moon. Sui Hanqiu was defeated. Autumn Moon absorbed Sui Hanqiu's battle chi and the color of her battle suit became darker. It was dark purple. Autumn Moon is so powerful. That divine light is terrifying. I've never heard of it before. Autumn Moon and Lu Ming are both dark horses. The fact that Autumn Moon had defeated Sui Hanqiu caused a lot of discussion. Next, Autumn Moon, who do you want to challenge? The National Master continued to ask. I want to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion. Autumn Moon's voice resounded in the entire arena. What? She wants to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion? This time, everyone was taken aback. Even Lu Ming was shocked. Autumn Moon wanted to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion. Why is this girl so impulsive? Lu Ming was also speechless. With Autumn Moon's strength, she might be able to win if she continued to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion step by step. If she won and upgraded her battle suit, she would have a higher chance of winning if she challenged the top 3. But now, Autumn Moon wanted to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion. Their battle suits were of the same level. Could Autumn Moon be a match for the Cliff of Oblivion? This girl is still inexperienced in the Jianghu. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Lu Ming knew that Autumn Moon wanted to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion because she wanted to be in the top 3 and help Lu Ming save Blue Merchant. However, Autumn Moon was still inexperienced. In the past, Autumn Moon was either with Lu Ming's parents or with Lu Ming himself. She did not have many opportunities to explore the outside world alone, so she was inexperienced. Naturally, she was not as scheming as Lu Ming, who was a wily old fox. Interesting. Su Weia was also stunned. Then, he stepped out and landed in the arena. Make your move. You're strong, but you're still not strong enough to challenge me. Su Weia said. Even though he had seen Autumn Moon fight, he was still very confident. Su Weia was the leader of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital. He had the right to be confident. Chapter 32-31. Autumn Moon's body was shrouded in divine light as her aura reached its peak. Huaran? 1. W? Ina? Sush. A terrifying saber light slashed out towards Su Weia. Autumn Moon used all her strength as soon as she made her move. She used all her divine power and her origin source secret technique, the god-killing ray. Boom. Su Weia's body also released a terrifying aura. His violent divine power stirred up the air and turned into a terrifying shadow of a finger that blasted toward Autumn Moon. Their attacks collided and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. Violent energy overflowed and spread in all directions. Lu Ming and the others quickly set up layers of defense to block the energy that spread out in all directions. Then, two figures could be seen retreating. What? That Qiu Yu's battle prowess is terrifying. Many people were shocked. Autumn Moon was able to fight Su Wuya to a draw. Not bad. Again. Su Wuya's voice rang out. Then, his body suddenly charged toward Autumn Moon. As he charged, a crescent moon appeared above his head. The moonlight shone brightly and was unparalleled. Autumn Moon's expression changed as if she had been attacked. She quickly slashed with her scimitar, and endless blade radiance slashed toward the void. The blade radiance slashed the void and made an intense collision sound. Boundless finger. At this moment, Su Wuya used the boundless finger again. A huge shadow of a finger pointed toward Autumn Moon. The boundless finger was one of Su Wuya's divine skills. It was extremely powerful and had at least reached the 10th level. As for the crescent moon, it was his origin source secret technique. Su Wuya was indeed very powerful. Not only was his origin source secret technique powerful, but his other divine skills were also exceptionally powerful. Autumn Moon cried out. Her blade radiance flashed and filled the sky with blade radiance, breaking Su Wuya's attack. God-killing ray. Then, Autumn Moon cried out. Her body emitted wisps of black light. These were all God-killing rays. In the previous battle, Autumn Moon had only used a wisp of God-killing ray. Now, Autumn Moon was using all her strength. Her entire body was enveloped by the God-killing ray. Then, all the God-killing rays gathered on the scimitar. Swoosh! The blade radiance was dazzling. Su Wuya's finger attack collapsed. And the blade radiance slashed the crescent moon, causing it to shake violently. It looked as if Qiu Yu's saber was about to break the crescent moon apart. At this moment, countless people's faces turned grave. Especially the top 10 geniuses, such as Qian Xingxian and Chu Qingkong, looked even more solemn. Qiu Yu's strength was beyond imagination. She was terrifyingly powerful. Even Su Wuya had been forced to such an extent. Boom! Suddenly, the aura on Su Wuya's body surged again, and a strong divine power gathered on the crescent moon. The moon's power suddenly became extremely bright. Qiu Yu's body trembled as she floated backward. Fourth King of God layer. Many people's faces turned solemn. Su Wuya's cultivation had reached the peak of the 4th layer of the King God realm. Previously, all the top geniuses were at the 3rd layer of the King God realm. It was difficult to break through each layer of the King God realm. This was especially true for the top geniuses. Breaking through from the 3rd layer of the King God realm to the 4th layer of the King God realm was equivalent to breaking through from a low-level King God realm to a mid-level King God realm. Once a person broke through, their strength would increase greatly. Su Wuya's cultivation had reached the 4th layer of the King God realm. His strength was extremely terrifying. Luminous moon in the sky. Su Wuya cried out. His body emitted a dazzling light. Every inch of his skin seemed to emit moonlight. This was another terrifying secret technique. Just like the ancient god body, this secret technique was called luminous moon body. I originally thought that I would only use my full strength at the last moment. I didn't expect that I would use my full strength now. Your strength has really made me look at you in a new light. Su Wuya looked at Autumn Moon with admiration. If he hadn't heard that Autumn Moon was taken, he would have been tempted. Su Wuya's strength had reached its peak when he used luminous moon body. Swoosh! Su Wuya turned into a ray of moonlight and shot toward Autumn Moon. The waning moon shone even brighter and shot toward Autumn Moon. The god-destroying light on Autumn Moon's body became even more intense. The god-destroying light flowed out of her eyes like streams of air. Autumn Moon increased her strength to the maximum. She turned into a ray of light and shot toward Su Wuya. Clang, clang. A ray of divine light and a ray of moonlight collided in the sky. Every time they collided, violent air currents would surge out in all directions. Everyone held their breaths as they watched the battle in the sky. The two of them had fought for more than a dozen rounds. Bam! There was another loud explosion and the two figures retreated quickly. Su Wuya no longer looked confident. Instead, he looked solemn. On the other hand, Autumn Moon's body trembled slightly. The god-destroying light on her body flickered. Autumn Moon is going to lose. Lu Ming sighed. Indeed, in the next moment, the god-destroying light on Autumn Moon's body trembled and disappeared without a trace. Although the god-destroying light was powerful, it was very difficult to control it. Moreover, it was very demanding on one's body and would cause a huge burden. Autumn Moon had overused the god-destroying light and could not take it anymore. I've lost. Autumn Moon shook her head and flew out of the fighting ring. She landed on the throne. Young master, I'm sorry. Autumn Moon has lost. Autumn Moon's apologetic voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. Silly girl, you've done well. Leave the rest to me. Lu Ming smiled. He felt that it was a pity. If Autumn Moon had more experience in the underworld, she might have been able to defeat Su Wuya when her battle suit turned golden. Autumn Moon was very powerful. If she gave it her all, Lu Ming might not be a match for her. Also, Autumn Moon's origin divine power factor had only been awakened once. If she had awakened her origin divine power factor twice, she might be able to fight Su Wuya. Phew, seeing that Autumn Moon had admitted defeat, Su Wuya heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed. To be honest, the battle with Autumn Moon had consumed a lot of his energy and divine power. Su Wuya had absorbed most of Autumn Moon's battle chi. His battle suit had become much thicker, but it had not been upgraded. However, it had reached the limit of the purple battle suit. If he absorbed more, it would be upgraded. Su Wuya flew back to his throne and swallowed a divine pill to recover. The other geniuses also heaved a sigh of relief. Autumn Moon's defeat had lessened the pressure on them. However, they frowned again. Su Wuya's strength was terrifying. Many of them knew that they were no match for him. Since Su Wuya was no match for them, only Di Jianyi and Qian Xingxian were left to challenge. After Autumn Moon's challenge, it was Lu Shuihan's turn. Lu Shuihan's eyes lit up as he started to think about who he should challenge. Chapter 32-32. Di Jianyi, Su Wuya, Qian Xingxian, Chu Chengkong, and Yi Jifan stood in front of Shuihan. Di Jianyi, fight with me. In the end, Shuihan challenged Di Jianyi. Everyone was shocked. They had not expected Shuihan to challenge Di Jianyi, who was ranked first. Previously, no one had challenged Di Jianyi. Then, Lu Shuihan had actually challenged Di Jianyi. This caused everyone's eyes to be filled with anticipation. Di Jianyi, who was ranked first in the initial batch, was an exceptional genius from a small thousand world. How powerful was he? Many people wanted to find out. Actually, Shuihan had thought it through carefully before challenging Di Jianyi. Firstly, if he chose to fight his way up step by step and challenged Yi Jifan, even if he defeated Yi Jifan and obtained his battle chi, he would not be able to upgrade his battle armor. Unless he could continue to defeat Chu Chengkong or even Qian Xingxian, his battle armor would be upgraded to gold. Previously, Lu Ming had been able to upgrade his battle armor because he had fought his way up from the 18th place to the top 10. He had defeated many top geniuses to upgrade his battle armor to gold. This showed how difficult it was to upgrade his battle armor to gold. However, he had no confidence in defeating Chu Chengkong and Qian Xingxian. Although Di Jianyi was famous, there were not many people who had seen him fight. Hence, not many people knew his true fighting strength. Hence, Shuihan had challenged Di Jianyi because he wanted to get lucky. Moreover, Di Jianyi had too much battle chi. If he could obtain half of Di Jianyi's battle chi, he might be able to upgrade his battle armor. Di Jianyi looked calm. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Attack! Di Jianyi looked calm. His white robe and white hair made many girls scream. They had become Di Jianyi's fans. Boundless ocean. Shuihan used all his strength and performed his origin secret skill. A vast ocean appeared and the waves created 1,000 layers. The raging waves looked as though they were going to drown the entire sky. The waves, which were a few hundred meters tall, slammed towards Di Jianyi. However, Di Jianyi still stood there calmly as though he did not see Shuihan's attack. Why is Di Jianyi not attacking? He did not even accumulate power. What is he trying to do? Don't tell me he's scared, silly. Many people discussed and thought that Di Jianyi was scared. clang. At this moment, Emperor Jianyi moved. Not many people saw how Emperor Jianyi moved. They only saw a flash of sword light that stunned everyone. Then, the sea that covered the sky was split in half by the sword light. A figure retreated out of the fighting stage. It was Shui Hen. Lu Shui Hen opened his eyes wide and stared at Di Jianyi in disbelief. Then, a bloody scar appeared between Lu Shui Hen's eyebrows. The scar grew bigger and bigger until Lu Shui Hen's body was finally split into two. Flowing water mark had fallen. The scene suddenly fell into silence. Everyone was stunned. A single slash. With just a single slash, the peerless genius flowing water mark was killed. Lu Shui Hen's reputation was not undeserved. Yu Jiuqian of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital had challenged Lu Shui Hen and was defeated by him. It could be said that Lu Shui Hen's strength was extremely strong. He could be ranked at the top of all the geniuses. However, he was killed by a single sword strike. They were both peerless geniuses. How could this be? After a moment of silence, the scene burst into an uproar. Countless people were talking about it. Even some of the older generation, legendary figures of the big families, and the heavenly kings could not stay calm. It was not because Di Jianyi's cultivation level was high. They could see that Di Jianyi's cultivation level was also in the third layer of the king god realm, the same level as Lu Shui Hen. However, Lu Shui Hen was killed instantly. Great! The king spoke. This was the second time the king had spoken. The first time was because of Lu Ming. Around the fighting stage, Su Wuya, Qian Shengxian, Chu Qingkong, and the others narrowed their eyes in shock. Then they became extremely solemn. The origin ancient word. It is definitely the origin ancient word. This guy is using it again. In the sea of consciousness, measuring word formula shouted. Lu Ming's eyes also became solemn. Compared to the last time he saw Di Jianyi in the Bone Sword tribe's secret territory, Di Jianyi was undoubtedly stronger. Lu Ming guessed that Di Jianyi's cultivation level was probably not in the third layer of the king god realm. He had just broken through recently. Moreover, Di Jianyi was not only strong because of the origin ancient word. He was also strong in other aspects. He is so powerful. I am no match for him. Lu Ming thought to himself. He knew that even if he did his best, he would not be Di Jianyi's match. Of course, it was because his cultivation level was too low. He was only in the first layer of the king god realm. If they were at the same level, Lu Ming was confident that he would not be inferior to others. However, this also reminded Lu Ming that he should not underestimate the heroes of the world. Just the Taishu dynasty alone had such terrifying geniuses. Compared to the entire chaotic universe, the Taishu dynasty was just a small place. How many geniuses were there in the vast chaotic universe? Lu Shui Hen's figure appeared outside the fighting stage. His face was extremely gloomy and filled with fear. He was really frightened by Di Jianyi's sword. Di Jianyi had killed Lu Shui Hen and absorbed half of his battle qi. The color of his battle armor became extremely rich. Then, strands of golden radiance spread out. His battle armor had also been upgraded to a golden battle armor. The others' faces fell. Di Jianyi was already extremely powerful. Now that his battle armor had been upgraded, who could be his match? Alright, Di Jianyi has won this battle. Next, it's Yi Jifan's turn to challenge. The Imperial Master announced. Di Jianyi retreated and Yi Jifan stepped onto the fighting stage. Su Wuya, let's fight. After Yi Jifan stepped onto the fighting stage, he directly challenged Su Wuya. This was not beyond the expectations of too many people. Among the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital, Su Wuya was ranked first while Yi Jifan was ranked second. The two of them had been competing for thousands of years. Yi Jifan was not willing to be ranked second and had always wanted to be ranked first. Hence, he and Su Wuya had fought countless times. This time, on such an important occasion, it was normal for Yi Jifan to challenge Su Wuya. Since you know that you will lose, why humiliate yourself? Su Wuya stepped forward and said calmly, revealing his strong confidence. Let's fight. Yi Jifan spoke, his battle intent skyrocketing. A shocking aura burst forth from Yi Jifan. Thick divine power spread out like a wave, burning fiercely like a flame. Fourth layer of the King God realm. Many people were shocked. No wonder Yi Jifan was able to compete with Su Wuya for the #1 position of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital. His cultivation level was also shocking. He had reached the 4th realm of the Divine King realm. Su Wuya's aura also exploded and their auras collided in the air. Then, the two of them turned into 2 streaks of light and charged at each other. Chapter 32-33. Su Wuya and Yi Jifan were ranked 1st and 2nd in the Holy Capital's 10 talents respectively. There was no doubt that both of them were very powerful. They were almost invincible among those of the same level. Both of them unleashed their origin source secret techniques. Various powerful divine skills and secret techniques were unleashed and clashed with one another. Everyone held their breaths and stared at the battle between the two of them. They are indeed powerful. Lu Ming nodded. Su Wuya and Yi Jifan had broken through to the 4th layer of the King God realm. Even if they were at the 3rd layer of the King God realm, few of the geniuses present were their match. Soon, the two of them had exchanged more than 200 blows. In the end, Su Wuya was more powerful and he forced Yi Jifan to retreat. In the end, Yi Jifan was knocked out of the fighting ring. Su Wuya had won the battle. Half of Yi Jifan's battle chi had been absorbed by Su Wuya. Su Wuya's battle armor shone with a golden light. Su Wuya's battle armor had successfully become a golden battle armor. Su Wuya and Di Jinni's battle armor already contained rich battle chi. It was almost at the peak of the purple battle armor. After absorbing some of the battle chi, their battle armor had become a golden battle armor. In that case, there were 3 people who had become golden battle armor. They were Lu Ming, Di Jinni, and Su Wuya. Lu Ming, Chu Qingkong, and Qian Shengxian frowned. Di Jinni and Su Wuya were already powerful. With the golden battle armor, their strength was even more terrifying. The two of them had almost secured 2 of the top 3 spots. Now, the 3 of them could only compete for the 3rd spot. Now, it's Chu Qingkong's turn to challenge. The national master announced. Chu Qingkong came to the fighting ring and looked directly at Qian Shengxian. Needless to say, he was going to challenge Qian Shengxian. Qian Shengxian flew up and stood on the fighting ring. One of the top 3 spots is destined to be mine. Chu Qingkong was very confident and said in an overbearing manner. Divine light kept flowing out of his armor, making him look very majestic. That's what I wanted to say to you. Come on. Qian Shengxian said indifferently. She was also full of confidence. Boom. Chu Qingkong took a step forward like a giant beast. The whole fighting ring shook. A huge spear radiance shot up to the sky and pressed down on Qian Shengxian like a mountain. 10,000 flower kill. 1,000 Shengxian waved her hand and countless flower petals appeared. These petals were of different colors. They were the petals of countless different flowers mixed together. The petals merged together to form a giant palm that grabbed downward. A giant hand and a giant claw collided with each other. In an instant, divine light shot out in all directions, and energy waves swept out in all directions. The two continued to exchange a few blows, but there was no clear victor. Then, the two of them used their origin source secret techniques and engaged in an even more intense battle. War God Body, War God Strike. Chu Qingkong let out a long roar. Divine light radiated from his body and began to swell. He looked like a real god of war. The divine war physique combined with the divine war strike was extremely powerful. It swept out in all directions, peerless and unparalleled. Qian Shengxian frowned. Countless flower petals appeared around her body. These petals could change into various forms. They could change into offensive and defensive forms. They could change into various forms. However, it was still difficult to resist Chu Qingkong's attack. The War God strike was extremely powerful. As the spear swept out, the petals exploded. I told you, you are no match for me. Chu Qingkong was overbearing. He stepped forward and waved his spear. A long river appeared. This was the ultimate move of the War God strike. The way of the spear became a river. With the help of the overbearing God spear, the attack was extremely powerful. The ancestor of the war god family was known as the war god. It was a title that he earned from killing on the battlefield. He was known for his offensive power. Every move he made had terrifying offensive power. Obviously, Chu Qingkong had brought this offensive power to the extreme. Qian Shingshuan's body trembled slightly and she kept retreating. Chu Qingkong, I have to admit that you are very powerful. I wanted to fight with you at the same level, but it seems that I can't. Then, let's go all out, Qian Shingxian shouted. Before she finished speaking, a powerful aura rushed out from her body. Fourth layer of the King God realm. This was the aura of a fourth layer of the King God realm. Qian Shingshuan's cultivation had also reached the fourth layer of the King God realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Then he understood. The Thousand Saints Heavenly King Mansion had experts like the Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King. With the help of the Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King, Lu Ming and the others had improved greatly in just a few decades. Qian Shengxian was the genius of the Thousand Saints Heavenly King Mansion. With the help of the Heavenly King Old Heavenly King Mansion, it was normal for her to reach the fourth layer of the King God realm. As the fourth layer of the King God realm erupted, the petals around Qian Shengxian shone brightly and turned into a giant hammer. Boom! The spear light vibrated. Chu Qingkong's body shook violently and he was pushed back. Qian Shengxian took the opportunity to attack. Chu Qingkong is going to lose. Qian Shengxian is a genius of the fourth layer of the King God realm. As a genius, it is difficult to defeat someone of a higher level. Chu Qingkong is not going to be a match for her. Many people were discussing and they thought that Chu Qingkong was going to lose. 9 Sabers, it seems like you are going to lose the bet with me. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King, looking at the 9 Sabers Heavenly King with a smile. It is too early for you to be happy, the 9 Sabers Heavenly King said faintly. There was not a trace of worry on his face. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Chu Qingkong still had a trump card? As expected, there was a huge change in the fighting ring. After Chu Qingkong retreated a distance, he roared. A terrifying aura erupted from his body. His strong divine power was like an erupting volcano. His godly power had increased by a large margin. However, Chu Qingkong's cultivation was still at the third layer of the King God realm, but the strength of his divine power was much stronger than before. What was going on? His cultivation did not change, but his divine power had increased tremendously. Look at Chu Qingkong's Danton. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Everyone's attention was drawn to Chu Qingkong's Dantian even without his exclamation. 2 balls of hot light appeared in Chu Qingkong's Dantian. The crowd could vaguely see 2 star nuclei. They were the shadows of Chu Qingkong's star nuclei that appeared when he activated them to the extreme. However, the color of the star nuclei was different. 2 star cores of different colors and 2 different types of divine power. Furthermore, the size of these 2 star cores was larger than the size of the other star cores. Lu Ming's pupils shrank and he was shocked. Chu Qingkong had also mastered 2 different kinds of divine powers. Could it be that he had also practiced the universal Tao technique, just like Yi Futian? But how was that possible? Jing Yu had found the universe myriad Tao scripture in an ancient relic and he had never taught it to anyone else. Now, only he, Autumn Moon, and Lu Shenhuang had mastered the universe myriad Tao scripture. Chapter 32-34. The fact that Chu Qingkong had 2 star cores and controlled 2 different kinds of divine powers had shocked most people. It's an ancient cultivation method. Chu Qingkong is cultivating an ancient cultivation method. Some seniors exclaimed, an ancient cultivation method? Many people were puzzled and asked the seniors for advice. The seniors began to explain. Countless years ago, perhaps during the incipient God era or the early Heavenly Palace era, there was a cultivation method that allowed one to cultivate multiple kinds of divine powers at the same time. 2 kinds, 3 kinds, 4 kinds. Cultivating multiple kinds of divine powers at the same time allowed one to condense multiple star cores. Moreover, the size of the star cores was larger than that of ordinary people, and their divine powers were more abundant. However, this cultivation method was very dangerous. One careless move could cause one's body to explode and die. Moreover, it had high requirements for the cultivator. Only peerless geniuses could cultivate it. In particular, this cultivation method was very slow to improve one's cultivation base, and it was very difficult to break through the bottleneck. The further one cultivated, the harder it was to cultivate. Therefore, with the passage of time, this kind of cultivation method was slowly eliminated. By now, this kind of cultivation method had almost disappeared, and very few people practiced it. However, there was a benefit to this cultivation method. After cultivating it, one's divine power would be very abundant and powerful. With multiple kinds of divine powers at the same time, one's combat strength would be unparalleled. It was already very rare for Chu Qingkong to cultivate to this level. An ancient cultivation method? Is the universe myriad Dao scripture also an ancient cultivation method? Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. However, the universe myriad Dao scripture was a little different from what the old man had said. The universe myriad Dao scripture had no shortcomings other than the fact that it required multiple kinds of divine powers to cultivate at the same time. Another difference was that the star cores cultivated by the universe myriad Dao scripture were not larger than those of others. Therefore, Lu Ming was very puzzled. It's an ancient cultivation method. The 9 extremities heavenly king's face changed. Ha, 9 extremities, you're going to lose? The 9 extremities heavenly king sneered. At this moment, the situation in the fighting ring had changed significantly. Chu Qingkong used the ancient cultivation method and unleashed his full power. His strength skyrocketed and surpassed Qian Shengxian. Both of Chu Qingkong's astral cores were larger than the others. Although the second type of divine power had not awakened the secret arts of origin, it had awakened the divine power of origin factor. Moreover, it had been awakened twice. This allowed Chu Qingkong to fight against someone who was at a higher level than him. He had crossed the threshold of the 4th king of God realm and forced Qian Shengxian to retreat. Qian Shengxian is going to lose. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Qian Shengxian wasn't as strong as Su Weia and Yifan. Even though she had the strength of the 4th godly king layer, she wasn't as strong as him. The two exchanged more than a dozen moves. Qian Shengxian was hit by Chu Qingkong's long river of spear. She was knocked out of the battle platform and spat out a mouthful of blood. Qian Shengxian was defeated. Half of Qian Shengshuan's battle qi had been absorbed by Chu Qingkong. However, Chu Qingkong did not have enough battle qi to begin with. Even after absorbing half of the battle qi from the Thousand Saint Cliff, his battle suit did not upgrade to a golden one. It was still a purple one. Chu Qingkong is so powerful. He can actually fight someone who is at a higher level than him. Many people exclaimed. It was normal for such a supreme talent to fight someone who was at a higher level than him. However, if his opponent was a supreme talent of the same level, it would be abnormal and terrifying for him to fight someone who was at a higher level than him. Chu Qingkong is indeed the strongest supreme talent in the history of the War God clan. Other than the mysterious Di Jinni, no one is his match. Even Su Weia is no match for him at the same level. Don't forget about Lu Ming. He is only in the 1st godly king layer. Yes, there is still Lu Ming and Qiuyu. They are also very powerful. They might be able to put up a fight. There are too many supreme talents this time. The 10 heroes of the holy capital are being suppressed like this? While the crowd was discussing, the 9 sabers heavenly king laughed in high spirits. Jiu, it seems like you have lost the bet. Now that Chu Qingkong is in the top 3, you can give me your 10 Starcrux elixirs. The 9 sabers heavenly king laughed and looked at the 9 sabers heavenly king. 9 sabers, it's too early for you to be happy. The battle isn't over yet. The 9 sabers heavenly king said with a gloomy face. Do you still have hope? Qian Shengxian is obviously weaker than Di Jinni, Su Weia, and Chu Qingkong. Other than her, there is still Lu Ming to challenge. Do you think Lu Ming can make it to the top 3? Dream on. The 9 sabers heavenly king sneered. The 9 sabers heavenly king remained silent. In fact, he was not confident either. Although Lu Ming was strong, his cultivation was too low. He was only in the first godly king layer, which was 2 levels lower than the other supreme talents. They were all supreme talents. 2 levels of cultivation was almost insurmountable. Jiu, are you trying to cheat? There are so many people watching. If you want to cheat, I can't do anything to you. The 9 Sabers' heavenly king continued to mock. After the battle, if I lose, I will give it to you. The 9 Sabers' heavenly king said. I will let you wait a little longer. The 9 Sabers' heavenly king smiled faintly. Chu Qingkong has won this battle. Next, it is Qian Shingshuan's turn. The Grand Master announced. Qian Shengxian swallowed a divine elixir and adjusted her breath. When she was at her peak, she stepped out and went to the fighting ring. There were only 3 people she could challenge, Di Jiani, Su Weia, and Chu Qingkong. However, she had just been defeated by Chu Qingkong. Obviously, she could not continue to challenge Chu Qingkong. She only had Di Jiani and Su Weia left. Qian Shengxian frowned. She was not confident in defeating any of the remaining people. In the end, she chose Su Weia. However, the outcome of this battle was already decided. Su Weia was stronger than Qian Shengxian. Moreover, Su Weia had the support of the golden armor and his combat strength was even stronger. He could completely crush Qian Shengxian and defeat her. After defeating Qian Shengxian, Su Weia did not return to his seat. That was because it was his turn to challenge. He only had one target and that was Di Jiani. Di Jiani, come down and fight. Let's see who will be number 1 this time. Su Weia looked at Di Jiani. Swoosh. Di Jiani turned into a sword radiance and landed on the fighting ring. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation. This might very well be the pinnacle battle this time. Who would be number 1 this time? Moreover, the color of the golden armor was the same. It would be a battle of strength. Di Jiani's cultivation is only at the 3rd heaven of the king god realm. Can he be a match for Su Weia? Many people had such doubts. Boom. Suddenly, a fierce battle broke out. The 2 of them attacked at the same time. A shocking sword radiance collided with a finger shadow. Boom. After a few explosions, a figure retreated quickly. It was Su Weia. In the first few moves, Su Weia was at a disadvantage. Chapter 32-35. Bright moon in the sky. Su Weia shouted. Moonlight seeped out of every inch of his skin and a crescent moon appeared above his head. The crescent moon in the sky scattered the moonlight. Every ray of moonlight was filled with killing intent and terrifying attacking power. Su Weia had used all his strength. Previously, he had used this to defeat Autumn Moon and Yi Jifan. Now, with the support of the golden armor, his power was undoubtedly even more terrifying. Clang. Suddenly, there was an earth-shattering sword chime from Di Jiani's body. Boundless sword chi burst out from his body. Swoosh. His entire body seemed to have turned into a ray of sword radiance and a combat sword as he charged towards Su Weia. Wherever the sword radiance passed, the moonlight collapsed and the heavens and the earth seemed to be split into 2. In the end, the sword radiance hit Su Weia's crescent moon. The crescent moon trembled slightly before it was split into 2 halves. Su Weia's body shook violently as he retreated. As he retreated, blood splattered in the air. Su Weia retreated to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. His face was as pale as snow and there was a deep sword wound on his chest. Fresh blood flowed out. Su Weia had been severely injured. Everyone was shocked. They had only exchanged a few blows and Su Weia had been severely injured. This was beyond everyone's imagination. Di Jiani's combat strength is too terrifying. He is only in King God Realm 3rd Heaven. He defeated Su Weia in such a short period of time. His combat strength must have surpassed Chu Qingkong's when he was at the same level. Definitely. Everyone discussed in shock. This made Chu Qingkong very unhappy. However, he looked at Di Jiani with a grave expression. Primordial Spirit Sword Body. Di Jiani might have cultivated the Primordial Spirit Sword Body. Suddenly, a sword principle expert exclaimed in shock. What? Primordial Spirit Sword Body? No wonder it is so terrifying. The others gasped. In the primitive universe, there were various body constitutions. Of course, Most of these body constitutions were not inborn. They were acquired through cultivation. It was equivalent to a secret skill, known as the secret skill of the physique. For example, Lu Ming cultivated the ancient god body, Wu Fan cultivated the ancient shaman body, Chu Chenkong cultivated the war god body, Su Weia cultivated the bright moon body. In fact, all of these were obtained through cultivation. They were all secret techniques. However, this kind of secret technique was extremely difficult to cultivate. Some required coincidences and some required heaven-defying talent. Some races were naturally suited for certain physique secret techniques. For example, the descendants of the ancient gods that Lu Ming had met before were born with the bloodline of the ancient gods. It was much easier for them to cultivate the ancient god body. As for others, it was much more difficult for them to cultivate. They needed opportunities. There were different types of unique constitution secret arts, and some of them were easier to cultivate. Naturally, the prowess of each of them differed greatly as well. The ancient god body that Lu Ming cultivated was actually one of the easiest constitution's secret techniques to cultivate. Apart from Lu Ming himself, he had also seen many people cultivate the ancient god body. Of course, it was relatively easy to get started with the ancient god body, but it was extremely difficult to cultivate it to the peak. Most people were stuck between the red-armored ancient god body, orange-armored ancient god body, and yellow-armored ancient god body. Lu Ming did not see anyone who had cultivated to the green-armored ancient god body. As for the original spirit sword body that Emperor Jinni had cultivated, it was extremely difficult and dangerous to cultivate. However, once it was cultivated, its prowess was extremely terrifying. It was even more powerful than the ancient god body, ancient shaman body, and war god body. Of course, this was because the ancient god body had not been cultivated to the peak. If the ancient god body was cultivated to the blue-armored ancient god body or purple-armored ancient god body, its prowess would be earth-shattering. It was said that there were many other constitution secret techniques in the primitive universe. Once cultivated, the prowess would be earth-shattering and unparalleled. They could suppress an era. Of course, the conditions to practice such a physique secret technique were also extremely harsh. Talent, perseverance, resources, and opportunities were all indispensable. "You've lost." Emperor Jinni stood in the middle of the fighting ring and said nonchalantly, "I've lost." Su Weia sighed and turned to leave the fighting ring. His origin secret technique had been broken and he was severely injured. He no longer had the strength to fight with Emperor Jinni and he might as well admit defeat. After Su Weia admitted defeat, the color of his battle suit returned to purple. The color of Emperor Jinni's battle suit became even more dazzling. Now, Emperor Jinni was ranked first. Su Weia was ranked second. Chu Chenkong was ranked third. Since Emperor Jinni was ranked first, there was naturally no need to challenge him. Now, the only person who was qualified to challenge was Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, do you want to continue?" The Grand Master's voice was heard as he asked Lu Ming. "Of course." Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. There was a terrifying fighting spirit that exploded from his body. Fight incantation, 5 times fighting strength. While Emperor Jinni and Su Weia were fighting, Lu Ming had already tried to trigger the fight incantation to increase his fighting strength by 5 times. After all, the success rate of the fight incantation was only 10%. If it were to be triggered during the big fight, it would be too late. Hence, it was best to trigger it in advance. Who would Lu Ming challenge? Many people were looking forward to it. Su Weia's battle suit had reverted from gold to purple. His strength had been greatly reduced and he might not be stronger than Chu Chenkong. There was more suspense. Would Lu Ming challenge Chu Chenkong or Su Weia? "Chu Cheng, come down and fight me." A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he pointed it at Chu Chenkong. As expected, he wants to challenge Chu Chenkong. Many people were enlightened. Previously, Lu Ming had been targeted by Chu Chenkong. Now, it was normal for Lu Ming to challenge Chu Chenkong. "Haha." Chu Chenkong sneered. He stepped onto the fighting ring and said, "Very good, very good. I couldn't challenge you before, but you challenged me." I can torture you to death and get back some interest for my war god family's supreme talent. You will be the one to be tortured to death. If you are capable, don't admit defeat. Let's fight to the death. Lu Ming said. Fight to the death? You were chased by me like a stray dog. Now you think you can fight me just because you have upgraded to a golden battle suit? How naive. Fine, let's fight to the death. Chu Qingkong said coldly. His aura also became violent. His body swelled rapidly and turned into the body of the war god. War god strike! Chu Qingkong shouted and waved his long spear. A huge war god appeared and charged at Lu Ming. Ancient god body, divine dragon Dharma Laksana. Lu Ming turned into a green-armored ancient god that was a few hundred meters tall. Then, 36 nine-clawed dragons appeared and charged at Chu Qingkong. At the same time, the Gate of Domination appeared above Lu Ming's head and blasted at Chu Qingkong. At this moment, the ability that Lu Ming displayed was much stronger than that of the previous battle. Lu Ming had the support of the Golden Battle Suit and the battle incantation that increased his combat strength by 5 times. He was terrifyingly strong. A series of attacks landed on the huge war god. The body of the war god was full of cracks and exploded. Chapter 32-36. The Gate of Domination continued to press down on Chu Qingkong. Chu Qingkong's expression changed drastically. Overbearing God's spear explode. Chu Qingkong shouted as he performed his origin secret technique, Overbearing God's spear. At the same time, the 2 star cores in his body began to operate rapidly, pushing his strength to the peak in an instant. He did not use his full strength earlier because he looked down on Lu Ming. He thought that he did not need to use his full strength to deal with Lu Ming. However, he knew that he was wrong as soon as they started to fight. Very wrong. Lu Ming was terrifyingly strong. He defeated his attack in an instant. River of Spear Principles. Chu Qingkong roared as he thrust his spear forward. Endless spear radiance gathered into a long river and rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom! The River of Spear Principles hit the Gate of Domination with a loud bang. The Gate of Domination shook but was blocked in the end. Amidst the endless waves of energy, Lu Ming and Chu Qingkong retreated backward at the same time. What? It's a draw! Someone exclaimed in disbelief. Lu Ming and Chu Qingkong had exchanged a few moves in a row. It was a dazzling scene. Only now did the crowd realize what had happened. They were extremely shocked. In their minds, Chu Qingkong should be able to suppress Lu Ming with an absolute advantage. Even if Lu Ming had the golden armor, he would not be able to do so. However, the result was different from what they had imagined. Lu Ming's combat strength is so strong. It's incredible. Chu Qingkong is using his full strength. It's incredible. Lu Ming is only in the first king god realm. He ran away not because he was afraid of fighting Chu Qingkong, but because he didn't want to. Many people exclaimed. Chu Qingkong was someone who could defeat Qian Xingxian. It was unbelievable that he could not suppress Lu Ming even though he had used his full strength. Even with the golden armor, it was impossible to increase his combat strength by so much. Obviously, Lu Ming's combat strength was amazing. They knew that Lu Ming ran away not because he was afraid of fighting Chu Qingkong, but because he did not want to. With Lu Ming's strength, he could totally put up a fight. Those who had underestimated Lu Ming and thought that Lu Ming would not dare to fight against Chu Qingkong felt their faces burning. There's hope. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King's eyes lit up. As for the 9 Blades Heavenly King, his face turned gloomy. I don't believe it. Chu Qingkong roared and pushed his combat strength to the peak. He charged at Lu Ming again. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming's gigantic body stepped forward, causing the platform to tremble. The Gate of Domination emitted an ancient radiance, suppressing forward. Meanwhile, Lu Ming brandished his spear and charged forward. The 2 giants fought fiercely on the battle platform. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. After dozens of moves, the 2 of them were still unable to determine a victor. One had to admit that Chu Qingkong's combat strength was extremely powerful. If it were not for the golden armor, Lu Ming would not have been his match. Of course, This was also because Lu Ming's cultivation was too weak. He was 2 levels lower than Chu Chenkong. Although they were both peerless geniuses, the gap between each level was extremely difficult to overcome. That was because one had all kinds of terrifying divine skills and secret skills, and so did the other party. It was too difficult to fight someone with a higher level. Strike of the God of War, mighty army! Chu Chenkong roared. His spear vibrated. Numerous gods of war appeared in the void. They rode on warhorses and brandished their spears, charging at Lu Ming. The entire sky was shaking. It was filled with an oppressive aura, as if it was going to crush Lu Ming completely. Do you think you're the only one who knows Strike of the God of War? Take this. Strike of the God of War, mighty army! Lu Ming roared coldly. He brandished his spear. Numerous gods of war appeared in the sky. They rode on warhorses and charged at Chu Chenkong. After so many years of cultivation, Lu Ming had cultivated Strike of the God of War to the 9th level. Its power was no less than the apocalyptic 3 strikes. What? You know it too? Chu Chenkong roared. His eyes were wide open in disbelief. Lu Ming had also mastered Strike of the God of War. Damn it. How dare you cultivate the secret skill of the God of War family? Outside, an elder of the God of War family shouted angrily with cold killing intent. Rumble. Thousands of warhorses collided with each other, causing explosions. However, Chu Chenkong's Strike of the God of War was obviously more advanced. It had reached the 10th level and began to suppress Lu Ming. Thief, so what if you've secretly learned the secret skill of the God of War family? Without the support of the overbearing God Spear, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Chu Chenkong roared. He brandished the overbearing God Spear and the gods of war became more powerful. Overbearing God Spear, is it? Sorry, I have it too. Lu Ming said calmly. The divine spear in his hand disappeared. It was replaced by a stone spear that was filled with an ancient aura. It was exactly the same as the overbearing God Spear in Chu Chenkong's hand. Overbearing God Spear. How can you have the overbearing God Spear? This time, Chu Chenkong's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. He screamed hysterically. It was unbelievable to the extreme. Not only him, but everyone was stunned. That's the overbearing God Spear. Impossible. How can he have the overbearing God Spear? 2 origin secret skills. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Lu Ming is also cultivating the ancient cultivation method. It must be, countless people shouted, unable to remain calm. They thought that Lu Ming was also cultivating the ancient cultivation method. Since he had mastered 2 different origin secret skills, it meant that he had mastered 2 different divine powers. Only the ancient cultivation method could control several different kinds of divine power. No wonder Lu Ming's combat strength is so strong. It turns out that he's also cultivating the ancient cultivation method. Many people were enlightened. They thought that Lu Ming's combat strength was so strong because he had cultivated the ancient cultivation method. Impossible. Damn it. It's impossible. Some elders of the war god family were even more agitated. They were already so old, but they were still shouting like pigs. It was really hard to accept. Among the younger generation, Chu Chenkong was the only one in the entire war god family who could cultivate the overbearing god divine power and awaken the overbearing god spear from it. However, Lu Ming, an outsider, had also awakened the overbearing god spear. How ironic was this? When Chu Chenkong saw Lu Ming use the overbearing god spear, he was stunned and in a daze. How could Lu Ming miss such an opportunity? In the measure formula, a steady stream of divine power flowed into Lu Ming's body. Then, this divine power rushed madly toward the overbearing god spear and the gate of domination. Starburst! Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear, performing the strongest move of the 3 strokes of annihilation. After using the overbearing god spear, the power of the spear Dao divine skill would undoubtedly be stronger. At the same time, the gate of domination emitted light and suppressed Chu Chenkong like a divine mountain. The 2 origin secret skills attacked together. Chu Chenkong was shocked and hurriedly put up a defense. However, it was still too late. The violent destructive power swept out and shrouded him, breaking through his layers of defense. Then, the gate of domination pressed down. Boom! Chu Qingkong screamed. The bones in his hand were broken, and he vomited blood. His body was sent flying. Dozens of bones in his body were broken. Chapter 32-37. Chu Qingkong flew out and landed heavily on the fighting ring. He vomited blood and dozens of bones were broken. He could not even maintain the war god body and the overbearing god spear. The overbearing god spear was the first to disappear. His body returned to normal. Buzz. Lu Ming did not plan to let Chu Qingkong go. The gate of domination shrunk and continued to press down on Chu Qingkong. Chu Qingkong's body was bent like a bow. All his internal organs were shattered. Then, Lu Ming stepped on Chu Qingkong's face. "Ah, let me go." Chu Qingkong struggled crazily and kept roaring. His eyes were full of humiliation. He was a dignified genius, the strongest successor in the history of the war god family. Lu Ming had stepped on the giant's face in front of everyone. This was a great insult. He could not wait to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Bang! Lu Ming stomped hard on Chu Qingkong's face. Chu Qingkong's face was immediately in close contact with the ground. Blood splattered everywhere and all his teeth flew out. Just the word miserable was enough to describe it. "Ah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your whole family. You damn bastard," Chu Qingkong roared hysterically. He had gone completely crazy. He was so mighty before, looking down on Lu Ming like an ant. He did not take Lu Ming seriously and even said that he would torture Lu Ming to death. But the result was the complete opposite. It was a great contrast. As proud as he was, he could not take it anymore. His self-esteem was severely damaged. In comparison, he was a joke, a laughable joke. This brat deserves to die. He deserves to die. Outside, the war god family's elders also roared angrily. They were like rampaging lions, their hair and beards all fluttering about. What? The younger generation is no match for him, so the older generation wants to step up. Is this the style of the war god family? 9 Extreme's Heavenly King glanced at the people of the war god family coldly. His tone was full of sarcasm, which made the people of the war god family pale. "Jiao Dao, it seems that you are happy for nothing. Now that Chu Qingkong has been defeated, and Lu Ming has entered the top 3, you are the loser of our bet." The 9 Extinction Heavenly King looked at the 9 Sabers Heavenly King with a smile on his face. To be honest, the fact that Lu Ming was able to defeat Chu Qingkong was also out of his expectations. At the moment he was in a very good mood. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King's expression was extremely ugly. For a moment, he did not know how to respond. "Oh, I got it. The competition isn't over yet. There might be more variables," 9 Extinction Heavenly King said coldly. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King was so angry that he almost vomited blood. What kind of change was there? Chu Qingkong was trampled under Lu Ming's feet like a dead dog. What else could there be? Even if Lu Ming continued to challenge Di Jianyi and Su Wuya and was defeated, he would still be in 3rd place. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King was openly mocking him. 10 Starcrux pills, here you go." The 9 Sabers Heavenly King gritted his teeth and took out 10 Starcrux pills from his storage ring with trembling hands. He threw them to the 9 Extinction Heavenly King and his heart was bleeding. Even though he was a Heavenly King, 10 Starcrux pills were enough to make him bleed. It was like cutting his flesh. By the side, the other Sir God experts looked at the 9 Extinction Heavenly King with envy. An ordinary Sir God would not be able to get 1 Starcrux pill, let alone 10. "You are too kind. I shall accept it then." The 9 Extinction Heavenly King laughed heartily and kept the pills. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King wished he could stomp on the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's smiling face. Bam! A huge shoe print was imprinted on Chu Qingkong's face. Chu Qingkong's face was deformed. He roared and struggled, wanting to blow himself up. Unfortunately, he was restrained by Lu Ming and could not blow himself up. "How dare you threaten me? Apologize and admit your mistake." Lu Ming's face was cold as he stomped on Chu Qingkong with his shoe. "Ah, Don't even think about it. I will tear you into pieces, Chu Kong roared. Bam, bam. What greeted him was Lu Ming's ruthless kick. Stop. Little brat, stop. The experts of the war god family outside roared. Their voices penetrated the spherical world and Lu Ming and the others could hear them. Nonsense. Let him apologize, admit his mistake, and say that he is trash. Lu Ming curled his lips. The other party wanted to kill him. Lu Ming would not show any mercy to such an enemy. He wanted to beat the other party until he was convinced. At first, Chu Kong was still struggling. Slowly he gave in. He had no choice. Lu Ming was stubborn and unafraid of his threats. If he continued to struggle, he would only be tortured by Lu Ming. For Chu Kong, this situation was like a year. I was wrong. I shouldn't have targeted you. I was blind. I am trash. In the end, Chu Kong said those words in humiliation. His heart was bleeding with every word he said. What a humiliation! What a great humiliation! The experts of the war god family all looked gloomy. They were emitting cold murderous intent. The war god family used to be glorious. They were known as the war god of the Taishu dynasty. Although they had declined, they were still proud of their identity. Chu Kong was known as the strongest genius in the history of the war god family. He represented the face of the war god family. Chu Kong was slapped in the face, which meant that the war god family was slapped in the face. One could imagine how they felt. That's more like it, Lu Ming smiled faintly. With a kick, he sent Chu Kong flying out of the fighting ring. Half of Chu Kong's battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won this battle. After winning this battle, Lu Ming had already secured the top 3 positions. There was finally hope for Lan Shang. Phew! Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and finally relaxed. To be honest, this battle was not easy. The genius of the Taishu dynasty was more powerful than Lu Ming had imagined. This time, Lu Ming was lucky. Plus, he had his own plan. He did not hunt for much battle chi at the beginning, so his ranking was low. He fought his way up and finally upgraded his battle suit. That was how he defeated Chu Kong. To be honest, if his battle suit was the same as Chu Kong's, he might not be able to defeat Chu Kong. In addition, Yijifan was also very strong. If he had not been defeated by Su Wuya, Lu Ming would not be confident to defeat him. No matter what, he had finally gotten into the top 3 this time. Lu Ming won this battle. Lu Ming, do you want to continue? The Grand Preceptor asked. Although the Preceptor was also very unhappy with Lu Ming, he was experienced and astute. There was no obvious change in his attitude. Everyone's heart trembled. Would Lu Ming continue to challenge him? They were looking forward to it. However, they were disappointed. Lu Ming shook his head and said, "I'm not challenging anymore." Since he had gotten into the top 3, there was no need to continue. To be honest, he was not confident to continue. Su Wuya was at the peak of the 4th Heaven King God realm. Even with the help of the golden battle suit, it would be difficult for him to defeat Su Wuya. Not to mention Di Jiani. He was probably no match for him. His goal was to get into the top 3. That was enough. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.